Good Boy proves that dog is truly man's best friend. This is the latest film, an actual directorial debut of Ben Leonberg, who premiered this film at South by Southwest. So I was at South by Southwest trying to watch this film when it came out. It was hard. Everybody wanted to watch the movie of the dog in the haunted house. This film actually is in the perspective of the dog as they are trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. And the dog itself, Indy, is actually the dog of Ben Leonberg. So they actually took about 400 days to film this because they didn't want to stress out the dog or anything like that. So they would just take moments throughout the year to film things. And pretty much what we got is a film that totally wrecked me by the end. So this is in my review. If you want to check out my review, I'll have one out. Don't worry. This is me talking about the ending, the themes, and everything that just happened in this movie in my interpretation. Like I said, my interpretation. There is no legit interpretation out. This is just what I took away from it. And I think it definitely is a film that left me in shambles. So the film basically revolves around Todd and his dog Indy as he is suffering from a chronic lung disease. We don't know exactly what this is. It's never really implied either what it could be, but it pretty much is a disease that is slowly killing him. He then ventures out into the woods and stays at his late grandfather's home, which his sister Vera is kind of worried about because she doesn't want Todd to be isolated. They also believe that the place was haunted and could actually have contributed to the grandfather's death. Of course, Todd is just like, you know what, I'm doing this, don't worry, it's fine. We slowly see that there is indeed a presence in the home. Indy tries to figure out what this is, but isn't able to, as we see the presence continues to haunt them day in and day out. However, Todd doesn't really realize that the presence is here, and it seems that Indy is the only one. They actually encounter Richard, who was the longtime neighbor for the grandfather, and warns them of some fox traps he has set up. He also mentions that he was the one who found the grandfather after his death, and also reveals that the golden retriever the grandfather had abandoned has been missing ever since. Indy, however, comes to encounter the ghost of Bandit, who takes him upstairs where they're able to find Bandit's bandana that was worn by him before. Of course, this means that Bandit has passed away as well. Indy also starts to experience more of these dreams with the dark figure, as well as seeing Todd's grandfather, who actually died of the same disease that we see Todd dying. By the end of the film, we have seen that Todd has worsened throughout and is now coughing up blood regularly. He also has become more aggressive towards Vera and also on Indy, and it seems that he is just in an incoherent state now, where he is also slamming his head against the basement door. Indy then one night is awoken by some slamming noises, as well as Todd, and as Indy escapes, we see that they become caught in one of Richard's fox traps, which makes Todd reprimand Indy and leaving the dog outside and forcing it to sleep in a doghouse. That night, however, Indy senses that the figure is closer to Todd, and Todd starts coughing very loudly as we see that the figure attempts to then attack Indy. Indy manages to escape, running out of the doghouse, and knocks it over in order to go inside the cellar door, where we see that Indy's able to find Bandit's corpse, and it seems that Bandit may have been stuck here with the grandfather when it died and ultimately passed away as well. Indy's able to make it into Todd's bedroom, where we see that Indy starts to comfort Todd, but then as he turns, he faces his own corpse and realizes he has just died. We see Todd is then dragged by the dark figure throughout the house into the basement as Indy chases after him, attempting to save him, but then we see that he is getting pulled into a dark tunnel. Todd now accepts what's about to happen to him and tells Indy that he is a good dog, but that he cannot save him. And then we see him be taken by the dark figure. The next morning, Vera arrives at the house and discovers Todd's body. She then goes to find Indy in the cellar. As we see Vera call for Indy, who pauses, looking into the cellar, into the dark tunnel where we saw Todd get taken into, pausing, almost not wanting to leave, but then ultimately does go with Vera as the movie ends. So honestly, that got me teary just talking about it, because I thought the film was really great. I thought it really established how pets, dogs, animals, whatever, are really attached to us, and how they're willing to do whatever it takes to save us. In this case, Todd couldn't be saved, and it was so heartbreaking for Indy to realize that, and for us to see that he couldn't save Todd. And I think that this film really showcased just how much love and bond one can have with a pet, and it's really a devastating movie at its core. So what exactly was this entity? So there's been several things floating around about what exactly the entity could have been. I myself see it more as the entity was just the looming death over Todd. I think that this was something that Indy was able to sense and to sort of get a feel was coming, but was trying to still save Todd because as a pet, as an animal, as a dog, maybe Indy saw it as a threat and was trying to get rid of it. But of course, Indy wasn't able to save Todd. I think this is what was haunting Indy, is the thought of its owner, the person they love so much, ultimately dying and being taken by this quote-unquote dark force that is actually death. People have speculated, and this is another theory, this is not something I really thought about myself or really think is happening, but some people have mentioned that maybe this spirit came from the cellar or the basement, and this is what caused the grandfather to die and ultimately was trying to take Todd as well. Almost like a whole thing where everybody was being taken from this home. And this is what caused Todd to deteriorate more, is because the whole spirit or entity was here, and that's what was like sucking the life force out of them. I don't know if that's the way it would definitely go. It sounds a little bit more like a far-fetched thing trying to make a franchise happen. I definitely do think it's more contained and it's just death as a visual metaphor that was going on here. But I think it really was a film that showcased just how much love and how much loyalty a dog can have to its owner. And I think that we see that Indy was trying to protect their owner from the beginning of the film all the way up until the very end. They try to put up as much as a fight they could so that their owner wouldn't be taken into the abyss by this dark entity that they don't know what it is, but ultimately was death. And just an incredible film throughout. And I think that Bandit's spirit wanted to be found as well, and we saw that Indy was able to find Bandit's corpse in the cellar, and thus Bandit could potentially now rest in peace. A very tragic film, honestly. Very, very much so got me in the feels watching it. Really loved the ending. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on it. It is a movie that I think showcases, of course, like I said, the love and loyalty that we have for our pets and just how strong that bond can be. Ultimately, Indy tried to save his owner, but by the end couldn't, and it's just a tragic, tragic loss. Really great film. Really loved it. I think it definitely should get more eyes on it, so hopefully it does. Check it out when you can, whether it's in theaters right now while it's playing or on streaming on Shudder later in the month. But as always, that's going to do it for me. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. 50,000 subscribers is our goal. We got a ton of movies to talk about, so don't miss out on it. I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.